The next tool here in tags is beam annotations. This is usually used in every structure actually, but as we talked about the basic tools in structure tab, so bit better to know how do we can work with beam annotations so we can place multiple beam tags. And if we want to add this, we have to have the beam tags loaded into the project, and also we have to place some beams or structural framings in the project. We open the level 2, then we select the beam. Afterwards, we add set of beams between the columns, like this way. Check it out. By this way, like this. And afterwards, OK. Then from view, and then plan views, structural framing, level 2, in order to show the beams. 1 to 50 for the scale and find detail level. Afterwards, suppose that we want to choose, set minus, or let me select these two central ones and set minus 1000 for the offset, like this way. Very well. Afterwards, I want to place some tags on them. Here from Annotate, and if I click on beam annotations, this window will appear, as you can see, but please don't get frightened. Here, this is so simple. Okay, firstly, we got some explanations that we use this tool to place beam annotations, tags, and spot elevators on the beams in your current plan view. And also, beam annotations can be placed at the ends and midpoints of levels and shaped beams. Sloped beams, I'm sorry. And they can also be placed on either side of the beam. And then here we have to select the annotation type and the location. A schematic preview is given below. So suppose that here we got a beam and we got the previews that we can add the tags on the ends, start, or at the middle or the midpoints. For instance, level beaming plan and a slope beaming plan. So if you want to add them on the levels, we click on level beaming plan, and we get the placement settings that determines the position of the tags. And as you can see, the split elevations and beam tags are placed with the respect to the text's bounding box in those elements. And also we specify the horizontal and offset. Watch this, like 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters, or in vertical offset we can set it to default or customize the value. And then for the start or middle and end, firstly we click on select annotation type. We can set it to none or structural framing tag. Then we can specify the type if the tag is loaded to the project. Otherwise, we click on load a structural framing tag to load one. Then in this window, we open the structural framing tag to load the related tags open. So it does exist, but it does not exist in the list of types. Why? What is the reason? This is an important point. Here we got the start, middle, and end. Let me cancel this and close the window. Then I want to open the structural framing tag. Open, then annotation, structural, and then framing tags. I open this. Watch this. Here, as you can see, the attachment point has been set to none. So this is the reason that the tag is not shown in the list. We can set it to start, middle, or end. But when we set it to none, in general it won't be displayed there. So we set it to none. It will be added when we use tag all not tagged. So you have to specify the attachment type or attachment point while you want to add them in beam annotations. Anyway, let us create one, beam annotations. And then let me choose the generic tags. Then I set the appropriate category, structural framing tags, like this way. Click on OK. Then I set the first one to start attachment point. Afterwards, we add the label. Then I click at the intersection. Afterwards, I should specify the parameters that I want them to be determined. Here we got too many parameters, but let me choose the some important ones like elevation at top. I select it, and let me see what can I choose as the label parameter. Slope, or I keep only one. Okay, and then I click on OK and apply. Done. This is for the start attachment point. I save this, then I name it IR dash STR framing dash start for the attachment point. Then I load it into the project like this way. Then I close the tag. Anyway, then I get back to the generic tag. I save this file as, then I change the start to end or midpoint, middle, set the attachment point to middle, save and load. The next one, save as. Let me see, save as. I'm sorry, let me open the family again. Save as family. Then I replace end instead of middle. And load it into the project. Cancel. Right now, we can easily have the beam annotations. I open start as soon as clicking on select annotation tags. As you can see, still we got the warning message that the attachment point should be specified, and the rotate with component must be specified as well. So we should get back to the families, and rotate with component must be checked. So we check for all of the three family types and then reload them into the project. Again, the next one, rotate with component for the middle tag and then reload, and then for the finish, the end, and this is checked. Start, this is checked too. Middle, it is checked, and the end, start. Let me set it to end, and then for the middle I check it, rotate with component, and then I reload it. Okay, overwrite the existing version. Okay, the next, and load and close to the project. Load and close. Overwrite. So let's see what is the result. Select, watch this. We got no warning message, and we can place the structural framing tag at the starts, middles, and also at the end of the beams. If we set it to spot elevation, then we can show the slopes, or the elevations of each. For instance, beam elevation based on the project or relative. However, we can create another elevation base. It is same with the aspect elevation that we talked about it before, but I want to use the tags at the start, middle, and middle, and using the end attachment point. So right now we can place the tags on all of the beams in the current view, but if you select some beams and then open the beam annotations, you're able to tag only on the selected beams. And just like the another one, we got include beam from links. And if I click on remove existing beam tags and spot elevations, removes if you have already added some tags on the beams. 2 millimeters, and then I click on OK, then we'll have the tags on the beams, as you can see, start, middle, and end, like this way. Then in view, annotations, beam annotations, in slope beam plan that is related to the sloped beams, which this. For instance, if I want to show the spot elevation for the sloped beams, I choose actual selected beam. Anyway, beam elevation based on the project. And okay, watch this. Here we got the sloped values for the sloped beams. And this was about the beam annotations.